Well, welcome back to the Piney Woods homestead, y'all. I've been wanting to do this video for quite some time, and today just feels like the perfect time to do it. We're going to talk about firewood. We're going to talk about our setup here on our homestead, how we do this as part of our business model, because we're not just firewood, y'all. How we get the wood, how we process the wood, how we handle it all, how many times we have to touch it, all of those nitty-gritty details that I'm sure a lot of y'all are just dying to hear. Guys, thanks for stopping in at the Piney Woods homestead. Gonna be a little sarcasm in this video. And guys, if you've watched me for any amount of time, you know I like to get a little sarcastic once in a while. All right, guys, thanks for being here. I'll set my saw down, get warmed up by the fire up there for a few minutes, and then I'll come back to you. So y'all, before I get into the nitty-gritty details, I really need to go back to the beginning. And what I mean by the beginning is the beginning of Lisa and I starting our business back in 2022. Really about the early part of 2022. So we have not been in business that long. So let me give you a little recap if you're new to the channel, or recap for those that aren't new to the channel, and a little introduction on to me, Matthew, and why we're doing what we're doing right now. So y'all, at the end of 2021, I had a major medical event happen in my life. And because of it, I had to leave the profession that I had been in for 15 years, and that was law enforcement. I was fortunate enough to have a steady paycheck every 2 weeks. A lot of y'all have the same. And life happened. Life has happened several times throughout my life, y'all. I wasn't always just in law enforcement. I operated heavy equipment for 10 years prior to that, almost 10 years. Even owned a couple of gas stations with a brother of mine. So we know what it's like to be self-employed and to have to provide our own bread and not rely off the, and Lisa don't like it when I say this, off the tea to somebody else to provide us with our sustenance. So that's an agricultural term for those of you that don't know anything about agriculture or livestock in general. So let's fast forward. All right, so we knew that we had to make a plan. And none of our plans are done on whims or on just what we want to do. We take it to the Lord in prayer, guys. So we took it to the Lord in prayer for quite some time. Came up with this plan to go back to using my strengths from prior law enforcement, and that was operating heavy equipment. So step number one, let me go over here and show it to you. So step number one was acquiring this 8,000-pound Kubota mini excavator. And the whole reason for that, y'all, is my experience is heavy equipment operation, and not just this small equipment like this. For those of you that have never operated anything in your life, this is pretty big. For me, a fellow that has operated stuff that you got to haul down the road with a semi, this is small equipment. But I did not want to go back to doing 14-hour days, digging ditches, grading commercial sites. I didn't want to go back to that. I wanted to do something that I could physically handle. And that was an 8,000-pound excavator doing small clearing jobs, small grading pads, everything that I know how to do digging footings, you name it, guys, I've done it with equipment, small to big. And so we went back to my strengths, and we could have bought all kinds of equipment, y'all. But we went with this right here because, once again, we put everything on paper. We can buy this type used for this amount. We can buy this one new for this amount. We didn't just say, hey, I like that orange Kubota, we're gonna go with that, y'all. We did a whole lot of looking, a whole lot of research. And when it came down to it, we picked Kubota. And I have been thoroughly pleased with this Kubota. And y'all, it was something that we had to invest in. It was not something given to us or something that we leased. It is something that we put skin in the game, money in it, and bought it. So my experience operating heavy equipment, and y'all, it's my favorite thing in the world to do. I would rather operate this excavator, a bulldozer, a track loader, a skid steer, a farm tractor. I'd rather do any of that than eat when I'm hungry. I'd rather do that than split firewood, saw on that sawmill. I would rather do this. I will skip a bathroom break just to keep on working and get a job done. That's how much I enjoy running heavy equipment. And so this has been an excellent purchase for us. And being that it's only been our first year in business, I've done quite a bit of work with this thing already, y'all. And only more will come as we continue to get referrals and do quality work for folks at a price that's reasonable and not just ripping people off. So an 8,000 pound excavator is what we went with because, y'all, I already had the ton truck. And that ton truck is perfect for pulling this machine. I could pull a little bit heavier one like the KX040. I could have done that, but y'all, just because a truck will do something doesn't mean that you should do it. You got to have stopping power and things like that. So we went with the 8,000 pound machine because I can do everything that I wanted to do with it, plus some. And for anybody that says, no, you can't, no, you can't, you can, guys. You just got to know how to operate, and only experience can teach you that. But if you're going to have something to make a living with like that, you got to have an equipment trailer. So we shopped around for equipment trailers, guys. I looked at all kinds of brands. I talked to some salesmen that were real pricks, and I'm going to be straight up honest with you. It's like my money wasn't good enough for them. And so when I finally found Kaufman Trailer, who is local to us, fairly local, and this is not sponsored by anybody, y'all. If you've been watching us at all, you know that ain't nobody giving us no sponsorship. This is Lisa and I just getting it done. I walk into the dealership, which is a huge production factory here. They're spitting out trailers every which way, and some people say, well, if they're spitting that many out, it's probably not that very good. Well, that Kubota, they spit a lot of those out, and it's pretty good. And this trailer has been great. But I walk in and get met with a smile. People are nice to me. And not only that, but you can tell that they want your business. They're not just turning you away. I dealt with this one fella, y'all, who was trying to knock this brand right here. And he ended up telling me, after dealing with delays with this salesman trying to get a price nailed down on 2 trailers, he finally tells me, I don't give a, and I have to say bleep, I don't give a bleep if you buy a trailer from me or not, to be honest. And I thought, wow, is that what the world has come to? Is that how people that are trying to sell a product have become? So I said, I don't care if your trailer is $1,000 cheaper. I'll buy the other ones. And then we did. So let me go show you the other one. All right, so this one is a 7 by 12 dump trailer. Both of our trailers have 6,000 pound axles under them because that's what I needed. I didn't need any more. Definitely couldn't have used any less, but 12,000 pound axles. Everything that we have is set up for my 3500 Chevrolet truck and set up for me because I really just don't want to be any bigger ever. I enjoy this nimble equipment that I'm able to get on people's properties easily with and get the work done that they need. But this 7x12 dump trailer is perfect. I don't like milling logs that are over about 11 foot long, even though I can. And so I am able to go out if somebody's got trees they're wanting taken down or a lot cleared, a small lot, y'all. The biggest thing I've ever done is an acre with this machine. And that was with the assistance of my buddy the Bland Man with his Bobcat Mini that he had. But it can be done, but I tend to stick to stuff around the 1/4 acre because I can do that in a couple of days. But I bring the wood home. So we needed something to bring wood back here to the sawmill because, see, we also mill lumber, but we don't do it in production. We'll get into more on production here in just a couple of minutes, but I'm able to stack that pretty good, get a nice heavy load, and bring it home. It's fairly economical to operate, y'all. And I mean, the gas is not cheap, and this is not a diesel truck. If it were, I could haul more of a load, but I'm happy with this 6.0. It has served us very well, and I'm happy with that dump trailer. We have delivered lots of firewood on that dump trailer. Backed it right in, it's nice and nimble, and get it unloaded for folks. They have really liked the fact that I'm able to get in and out pretty easy and I'm not miring up their place. So, dump trailer. We had to have a dump trailer for clearing these lots or doing whatever, y'all. It's not just clearing lots. It's whatever we do. I haul a little dirt from time to time, a little sand. Once in a while somebody wants just a little bit of stone and they don't want to buy a 2-ton dump truck worth or more, you know, like a straight truck or a tandem or something like that. They don't have the money, and so they'll get me. I don't do much of that because it's more economical to buy it in bulk. But anyways, I've got the capabilities to do that. So that trailer has really come in handy. So we started with the mini excavator and the 2 trailers. We bought that stuff, guys, because it was part of the business model. Now we'll get into the other 2 parts of the business model around here. Whiskers is following me around everywhere I go this morning. It's the weirdest thing. Usually she don't want to have nothing to do with you, but I don't know if you can hear her meowing, but she's just everywhere that I'm going this morning, so you'll probably hear. Another part of the business model, guys, is this Easy Boardwalk Junior Sawmill that my dad gave us several years ago. Years ago, when I was still policing, I had this idea of getting a sawmill, and I looked and looked and looked and looked, and my dad actually ended up buying this one. And so I never bought one of my own. I would watch him mill. I don't think I ever cut a board. If I did, I don't remember, while he had this mill. And a few years ago, he told me, he said, son, I was going to buy a mill. I even put money down on one. He said, get your money back from that new mill. He said, I'm going to give you this one. I've gotten plenty of years of use out of it. Now it's your turn. So we have been very grateful for the mill. And y'all, we have used this thing all last summer when I didn't have an excavator job, or I wasn't bucking firewood or helping Lisa in the gardens or with the animals. I was milling lumber. One thing that I do is when I clear these small lots, if somebody wants lumber out of it, I just turn around and charge them to mill their own lumber their own timber that I've already hauled out of there. Or if they want to do it on halves, I've done that too. I'll mill it, keep part for us to use or sell, mill it for them. Now, it's not a production mill. It's manual, y'all. And so there's no hydraulics on this thing. You are the hydraulics. We do have the benefit of having a tractor that we already had for several years before we got into this. So we actually use that too. That's part of our model. I've taken that tractor out and made money with it, dressing down yards for new seeding. If I have to move a lot of dirt on a grading job, I'll take it, cut the dirt with the excavator, move it with the tractor. You know, whatever I got to do to make a dollar, that's how we do it, y'all. But this mill, I have milled quite a many board feet of lumber for folks that bring me their logs. I do custom work, mantles. There's not as much huge demand for stuff like that as people might tell you, at least not in our neck of the woods. But there is plenty of demand for people that are wanting 1 or 2 logs milled, and you give them a rate and you get it milled for them. And y'all, that's money that you can pay a light bill with, or make a tractor payment, or what have you. Y'all, another part of what we do is this farm market that we opened this past spring. We'd already been growing the majority of all of our own food for the past 5 years or so. So we opened it this spring and had good success during the growing season, not only selling the produce that Lisa grows around here, that she starts from seed and then harvest, as well as chicken, y'all, because we raise some of those French American crossbirds, the Rangers, and we love those things, been raising them for years, and we decided to start breaking them down and selling them. And so that's what we have done. And y'all, that spring market helped pay for all the chicken that we consume for the year and all of our seed and things like that. So that's part of our business model, y'all. We actually work around here, believe it or not. The last thing that we decided we needed was a commercial style log splitter. And there are all kinds of brands out there, y'all. So we kind of sifted through all of that and ended up with the Firewood. And we're not sponsored by Bobby over there in Michigan at all. We're up there in Michigan, so we down here in North Carolina. We aren't sponsored by him in any way. So please don't ever think that anything you see running out here in the wood yard has been given to us, loaned to us, or discounted to us. We pay just like you guys. But we went, now I did get a discount, I will tell you, on this because of my law enforcement career. He gave me a slight discount that he also does for military. So that was very appreciative. Plus, I drove all the way up there, y'all. It was a once-in-a-lifetime trip. Me and the Bland Man took it. You can go back and watch the videos. Stopped by White Feather Meats in Ohio and met Seth Perkins, one of the bearded butchers. Really cool. Just a once-in-a-lifetime trip. And I was surprised I was able to actually make that trip, y'all. You go back and watch some of the old videos and you'll understand why when I say that. But I made it, and it was a once-in-a-lifetime deal. But we really like this all-wood log splitter. No, it is not the fastest splitter in the world. And some of your box store splitters might be faster. But I will just about guarantee you that this splitter right here will outlast me. That Honda engine on there is pretty doggone good. That frame on this thing is extremely massive. There is nothing that we have put on this thing that we cannot split. When I was having this thing built, I told Bobby, he asked me, he said, you want speed or you want power? I said, I want power. Number one, because a lot of this stuff that we're splitting, y'all, down here is some knotted up hickory, some big red oak. Sometimes we split even gum that we burned in the house ourselves. Y'all, that stuff's hard to split. And I have never owned my own log splitter until this one. Now, I've used log splitters. I've borrowed them from a brother or a friend or what have you. And I wanted something that was a good working height. I'm pointing down at my hand. A good working height. And that would lift these logs for us. And yes, there are other options, y'all. There's decking tables and there's cheaper splitters that you can buy. And if you look on the current price list for what Bobby's making up there, that's not what I paid for this, y'all. This was a couple of years ago that this thing was purchased, while steel was actually still semi-affordable. So you're going to pay more for this now. But anyways, aside from paying for it, this thing's going to outlast me, y'all. And if I kick the bucket tomorrow, Lisa's got something, an asset that she can actually sell and get some money out of instead of a box store splitter that is not really going to keep that much value in the long haul. So the things that we purchased are things that if I kick the bucket, honest to goodness, y'all, this was part of the plan. If I kick the bucket, and nobody knows when they're going to, we're all going to, but for me, it just kind of seemed like you just don't know when, and it might be sooner than later. Everything that we have purchased here, Lisa can turn around, sell, add it with my life insurance, and she'll be okay. Financially, that is. She wouldn't be okay without me, y'all. So guys, I do ramble, and probably half of you have already clicked off of this video, and that's fine. But for those of you that have stuck around, let me tell you how this operation takes place. I bring the logs in on the dump trailer, whether it is from a clearing job that I have done or one that one of my associates in the same field have done, and they need to get rid of material off of a lot they're clearing. So what you're seeing out here between the two wood yards, and I'll show you the other one here in a minute, about half of it I've brought in from jobs I've done. The other half I've brought from other people's jobs. And so, but we still have to go acquire that wood. I know that in some parts of the country, especially up north, where a lot of folks that are watching this channel probably because it says something about firewood, you're able to buy firewood poles and stuff like that on semis, bring them out. That's how you do it. We actually go get our own here. And so that's part of our model. I bring them in, I dump them, I get them all sorted. I would love to have one of those fancy little, what do you call it? A rotating grapple to put on that excavator, because they actually make them, so that it'd be easier for me to sort logs. I would love that, y'all. And maybe one day. It takes time and money, guys. It takes more money than it does time. That's what I always tell people. So we bring it in. I get it stacked. It seasons here until we are ready and have the time to work on it. Then I go to bucking it all up. It gets put right down in here. We back this heavy splitter that you can't move by hand. Oh, Lord, that's just a terrible thing, ain't it? You can't move it by hand. But the gator moves it, or the front loader on the tractor moves it. I don't care. We pick this thing up, we move it to whichever bunk we're working on. So, the wood gets bucked. We put it on here. We can lift about 600 pounds worth of wood on that lift at one time. And Lisa and I do this together. It's wonderful to have something that you can do with your spouse. Now, some of you are probably like, Lord have mercy, we'd end up not good. Well, let me tell you, you'll end up a whole lot better when you actually spend some time with that spouse and do some things pushing that plow together, so to speak. That may be a southern term, I don't know, keeping your hand to the plow, but we're keeping our hand to the plow together, and y'all, it just has made us that much stronger together. So Lisa does all the splitting. That's why I didn't want a fast splitter, y'all. I didn't want something that she's gonna cut her hands off with, or have an accident if she's splitting without me around. I wanted something that was strong to get through this knotty, sometimes really big stuff that I acquire, because can't put it on the mill. Nobody around here's got a mill big enough, portable, to go mill it for them. So it comes back here for firewood. I wanted something strong enough to bust it. This thing right here will bust it. And with my help on the big stuff, Lisa is good and safe doing it. She's 100 pounds soaking wet, guys. So, not going to see her lifting a big old round of wood like that by herself. That's teamwork, that we do it together. So she'll split, and as she gets it into the size that our customers are wanting, y'all, they want stuff that they don't have to resplit. That's crazy, isn't it? People want stuff they ain't got to resplit. So we get it knocked down like that, and that's some sarcasm coming out, guys. Because I know some people say, I can bust a cord of wood in 30 minutes. Well, I'm sure you can, but I guarantee you, unless you got like a 6 or an 8-way wedge on that thing, it ain't coming out like that. Maybe I'm wrong, but just saying. Anyways, she does a great job. She's very efficient on this splitter. And as she's splitting, I'm right here at the bunk. I stack it. It's amazing how hard that is. And y'all, I'm being sarcastic, so laugh with me. Don't think that I'm just being a jerk about this, because I'm not. The ultimate goal in firewood, or the holy grail that everybody's looking for, is not having to touch that firewood but like once or twice. Well, unfortunately, the way that we do it, I got to touch it when I bring it in on that dump trailer. I got to touch it when I put the saw to it out in the woods. Then I got to touch it when I deck it up on the job site. Then I got to touch it again when I load it into that dump trailer. Then I got to touch it again when I deck it up here after I've brought it home. Then I got to touch it again when I'm bucking it. Then I got to touch it again when I'm loading it onto the splitter. And then I got to touch it again when I'm loading it into the bunk. And then I got to touch it again when I'm loading onto the trailer. There's a whole lot of touching, y'all. Whole lot of touching. That's okay. That's part of it. That has kept me alive. I'm in the best shape physically, even if I still got some issues, that I have been in many years. And it's all from moving. I got an old buddy up in Ohio, Geezer in the woods. And he'd probably tell you that he'd be dead right now if he wasn't out there moving, doing firewood for his wood boiler, y'all. This is keeping me alive, and it's helping to keep me fit. Honest to goodness, I am more fit right now than I was the last 5 years of my law enforcement career. So let me walk you over here to wood yard number 2, the new one that we're building, and kind of explain to you how that's going to lay out. So let me see if I can do a little panoramic. In here we have 6 bunks holding logs, treetops, everything that's going to get split for 2024. Yes, 2024. And some of it, y'all, is actually seasoned now. We could split it and sell it, but we try to think ahead. We're not just about production around here. And that's another thing let me touch on with a little bit of my sarcasm. So, sarcasm alert. I don't care if you produce 150, 200 cord a year. I don't want to do that. If I wanted to be in production, I'd be in a mill. I don't want to be in production. All that Lisa and I care about is being content. Bills being paid, being healthy, having time together. That's the most important thing to us, y'all. It's not, if I were trying to put out 150, 200, 250 cord a year, like some of you guys up north, God bless you, are doing, and that's not me saying God bless you, that's God's honest truth. If that's what you're doing for a living is your sole provision, that's excellent. And I know y'all burn a whole lot more wood up there than we do down here in the South. All that Lisa and I care to do eventually is 20 to 30 cord a year. And we're not selling it all as cord loads, y'all. A lot of it's face cords going out. Sometimes it's just a little bit of camp wood going out. A lot of our customers do burn wood because that's the cheapest option for them to stay warm in the winter. And so we don't care about high capacity volume. That'd kill me. That'd defeat the purpose of what we're doing, y'all. Everything that we're doing, we're trying to do so that my life will be longer and that I can have that much more time with that sweet Miss Lisa. So my ultimate goal for the firewood business, ultimately, I would love to have a little bit more land cleared, and obviously I can do that, but we love living in the woods. And so I'm trying my best not to take down more timber than we have to. But ultimately, I would love to use that bag system. The only issue is my Kubota L2501 will not handle a face cord bag. And yes, they have half face cord bags. That's great. But it would take me so much more room to stack those. So for now, here's how we're going to continue to do it. Because trust me, Lisa and I have looked at all this. It's not just something that somebody has suggested. And I love suggestions, y'all, especially if they are beneficial, kind suggestions. I love that. Because we try to be kind to folks around here, y'all. That's our Christian nature. But anyways, in this wood yard, we're going to go ahead and build bunks again, but I'm going to do it differently than we did over there because my ultimate goal is to have double-decker bunks. Double-decker bunks that we can stack bags on. Bags on the bottom, maybe smaller bags on top, or at the very least, just continue to do it the way we're doing it, putting the cord in there. It's not that hard on she and I as far as her splitting, me stacking. And sometimes she lets me run that thing too, y'all, and she'll stack a little bit, but it's really not that hard on us, and it keeps us fit. So guys, ultimately, Lisa and I would love to have some of those things that make firewood production easier, and we will as time goes on and as we're able to afford it. and we'll probably increase production a little bit. But not to the point of some folks around the country that are putting out just tons of cordwood. Our market is different, and so we have to work accordingly to that market. We're not in the coldest part of the country around here. It's cold to us right now because we ain't used to 35 degrees. That's about what it is out here right now, about 35, so I'm bundled up. We're not used to it down here. But anyways, love to have a conveyor, love to have that bag system, love to have a bigger tractor, love to have a bigger excavator one day. Man, I'd even love to have a bigger splitter even if I didn't need it. Wouldn't it be cool? Or or for some of you, you don't care for any of that, and I'm content, guys. I am content with what Lisa and I have to earn a living with. And I think that is something that's missing from a lot of folks today. They're not content. They work a public job and do something else on the side to make more money because it takes it, y'all. It takes it to live, I understand that. But if you are passionate about something and you're doing it on the side, take a risk. Make it full-time. Make it full-time. As you see around here, we got many different things that we do to bring money in to earn a living, an honest, hard-working living. And y'all, we get to do it together. And I don't know any other profession that I could have that's honorable that I could do that with Lisa with. So, very happy that she and I get to do this together. Y'all are happy for y'all. I know this is long-winded. I'm probably going to edit this thing a whole bunch so that it's not so dragging. But the Holy Grail of firewood, you ain't got to touch it. And here it is, if you've stuck around this far. I'll sell the folks a tree. They can rent my splitter and my chainsaw. There you go. You ain't got to touch it. Let them do it all. Guys, you have a good day, a great week, and Lord willing, in the creek don't rise too high. We'll see you on the next one. I got to split some wood. Actually, I know buck wood because I told Lisa I wouldn't fire up her splitter today.